Enthymeme,
ENTHYME,
Iguape,
IGUAPE,
Denebola,
DNEBOLA,
Fedodo,
FASDODO,
Coathai,
CYWYDDAU,
Pohutakawa,
POHUTUKAWA,
Monadnock,
MONADNOCK,
Amud,
EMUT,
Nanofossil,
NANOFOSSIL,
Tongkang,
TONGKNG,
Nakatosh,
NATCHITOCHES,
Fla,
FLAITH,
Semele,
SEMELE,
Russell,
RUSELL,
Sauter,
SAWDER,
Campernell,
CMPRNELLE,
Nickel,
NICOL,
Zamenis,
ZAMENIS,
Tar Parker,
THARPRKAR,
Tlachli,
TLACHTLI,
Madoqua,
MADOQUA,
Retiarius,
RETIARIUS,
Balintawak,
BLINTAWAK,
Tesseraconter,
TSSARACONTER,
Toracathapsia,
TAUROK, THAPSIA,
Rapakivi,
RAPAKAVIA,
Wayeb,
UAYB,
Paremia,
PAROEMIA,
Melanket,
MELENGKET,
Terriglin,
TRAGLIN,
Homeland,
HOMELYN,
Chikungunya,
CHIKUNGUNYA,
Bromocryptine,
BROMOCRIPTINE,
Kashaw,
CUSHAW,
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Good morning, GOODMORNING. I am Matthew Hatfield alongside the muted, fixed microphone coach Ed E.D. Young, YOUNG. How are you, SIR?
I think it's just the one letter I, AM, good, GOOD.
Oh, you got it.
All right. That was amazing. That kid was ripping off.
Shrey, my man Shrey is incredible, isn't he?
I think I got two right of what he said, too.
Well, I thought Nickel was NICKEL. He had Nickel as NICOL.
Yeah, he didn't even ask about which one or what. He just kept ripping them off.
Yeah,
Wow,
he kept ripping and rolling. See, I would have said Nickel NICKEL. I'd have been buzzed. I wouldn't have got that far actually. But anyhow, we say good morning to all of you out there in Cova Sports TV land through Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel. Thank you, Woody. And we got a busy show on tap for all of you today, taking you up to 12 noon. Peninsula Pilots open up their season, lost their home openers. You see there on the ticker to the Zebulon Devil Dogs at War Memorial Stadium. High school regionals underway, getting closer to state tournament time. A couple of 8 seeds, by the way, surprisingly on their way through. And we got a big game number 7 in the NBA's Western Conference Finals tonight. Spurs and OKC Thunder in Oklahoma City. The Stanley Cup Finals are set. It's not the matchup Ed had. The Carolina Hurricanes are there. So too are the Vegas Golden Knights with John Tortorella, Ed's Italian brother from another mother, and Torts boys swept the Colorado Avalanche, the favorite to get to the Stanley Cup. Of course, New York Knicks are awaiting the winner of Spurs and Thunder for the NBA Finals that will start on Wednesday, and a lot happening. And I did not make an appearance for Turn Back the Clock night on Tuesday as part of my boycott protest with the rise in prices from 25 cents to 50 cents and now $1 for hot dogs, popcorn, and soda. But I imagine my partner did, as he shakes his head, all excited he got to see some baseball and was able to brave the elements and the weather concerns that were – we had a lot of rain throughout the week, and it got a little humid too.
Yeah, I was there. Turn Back the Clock.
Mm-hmm.
If those who remember last week's show, my partner, Mr. Hatfield, went off on the tides for going from 50-cent Turn Back the Clock to $1. I was there, and a lot of people said, "Hey, man, your partner, man, he went off." I said, "Yeah, he had his loose change already. Now he wanted to come out with dollar bills, and he don't really come out his pocket much for anything, so you have to be careful." And he's probably not here. So, and you weren't. We were on the lookout for you, but you weren't. I probably got over the course of the night, maybe 4 sodas, 2 for me, 2 for my buddy Jim Hammond, Dr. Hammond, who graciously allowed me to come with the tickets. And but we didn't get the hot dog or the popcorn. But what they say, something like 5,000 dogs were sold. Yeah, that was crazy. We saw people carrying 4 or 5 hot dogs at a time. I think you're allowed to get up to 6 each time you went over there. So it was crazy.
Hey, what coach are you picking to win a spelling bee in the 757? Let us know. I'm not picking Ed Young. I'm not sure he could spell Biaka Batuka, Fuamatuma Afala, or Antetokounmpo. God bless you.
Yeah, I would have trouble with those.
Remember, we brought this up a number of times on the show, be it on the radio side, now on podcast and TV. You did a spelling bee. It was against Marty Asprey of Grassfield, and you lost that, I'm pretty sure, at the sheriff's camp over there in Chesapeake years ago. Marty, by the way, now an assistant football coach at Kings Fork. But you did do that. We got to bring the spelling bee contest back. We know we play Fact or Fiction, oftentimes against my father on Father's Day and around state championship football time. We've done that a couple of times here lately, and you end up taking L's in that game. We got to bring the spelling bee game back. Who would you take in a spell-off of coaches in the 757?
Oh, a lot. It's a lot of people.
You'd go with the professor, Jeremy Jordan at Pocosin?
And for the basketball side of things, probably be a good pick.
Okay.
Jeremy probably be a good pick. The professor probably would know wide range of vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
He's a financial person. So he would be the basketball. When you say coach, though, it's everybody.
Yeah.
I would have to pick, I don't know a name, but I would pick a lady because they're a little bit more in tune to their work, schoolwork. I would have to pick a lady on the overall.
Okay, so who are you taking?
I go Shauna Bailey.
I knew you'd pick that. I wonder who would be up to sponsor something like that. We could get a little sponsored contest and get like a bracket of 16. We don't need to go 24 like the college football playoff, but that'd be pretty neat to do. A coach's spell off.
I do know one thing that some people have asked in the past about lately, last month. When is Hatfield bringing back the lookalike contest?
Oh, the people have been asking for that. They'd rather have that than Fool in the Pool.
Oh, there's probably no doubt that would be we're Fool in the Pool. That, no doubt. No doubt.
They want that over Fool in the Pool. By the way, you know who we haven't had on in a long time, and you need to effort getting him on? I'm sure he's still coaching baseball. I know his team is competing, and you bring up spelling bees. I bet he'd do a good job in it. Your good Yankee brethren, Phil Forbes. Menchville baseball. I bet he could. I could see him winning a spelling bee contest. I could see him pulling that off. He'd be a nice pick. And I was going to mention there are a lot of female coaches. Field hockey, Cox, Taylor Roundtree would be a candidate. I think she's pretty bright, pretty smart. But your man P, remember grandson P5 and all that. I think Forbesy would be a shrewd pick to win a spell off. I think he would be.
I don't know. I don't know.
And by the way, they are playing Maury coming up in the regional semis in 5B. Menchville's the 2, Maury's the 3, while Bethel's the 8, taking on Granby the 4. It knocked out the 1 seed Kickitan, so there's an 8 seed there. And then you also have an 8 seed in Gloucester that knocked out the 1 seed Hampton and 4A in the baseball side of things. So a couple of 8 seeds moving on in the baseball playoffs. They're a little bit of a surprise, a little shocker for you.
Yeah, you don't see that much in many other sports, but I guess on the diamond, it's a little bit more open field, so to speak. And they can get it on there. But I thought I saw somewhere in girls, was it softball? A number 8-1. Maybe I was wrong on that.
You could be right. I'm pulling up the softball as we speak. There's so many brackets, it would take too much time for us to go through every last one of them on this particular show. But as I pull it up on my touchpad, and I can tell people to go to the VHSL website, Go to their tabs, go to the Max Preps brackets. You'll see them, assuming they've been turned in and accurately updated. 1, 2, 3, 4 seeds all live in 6A girls softball. It's Grassfield, Manchester, coming up on June 2nd. Western Branch Cosby's your 2-3 matchup there. And by the way, Western Branch baseball, we'll get our buddy on the program rolling right, I'm sure, as soon as they go for our state title. I think he's won 3 of them. He's been to the finals 4 or 5 times. Girls softball 5A, it's 1, 2, 3, 5. Ocean Lakes beat Great Bridge, the 5, who knocked out the 4 seed. Remember, we had on recently Coach Rutherford, Deep Creek, on the show. You were the jinx there. Sorry, Coach. Good year for his girls at Deep Creek. They lost in the quarters 2-1 in a hard-fought game. We knew it'd be a good 4-5 matchup. But then Ocean Lakes bounced Great Bridge. So your 1-3 matchup at Great Bridge High School coming up on the 3rd, which is Wednesday, is 1 seed Ocean Lakes taking on 3 seed Kellum, which bounced your buddy Shane Smith and 2 seed Hickory 7-2 in the semis. So pretty chalky there, but that region's loaded with teams. Any one of those teams from our area can win a state title, especially those 2 that are last standing ones there. Looking at 5B. No, I think it's, by the way, Granby scored 25 runs in the quarters against Norview. Oh my gosh. Lord of mercy. We did reach out to a couple of baseball coaches this week to come on the show, by the way. And if they leave us MIA, folks, then, all we can say is we tried. Grafton, Gloucester, Jamestown, Churchland in 4A. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Chalky there. And in 3A, it is New Kent 1, York 2. Tab, the 6 seed, took out Lakeland, the 3 seed. So I guess Tab is your surprise team trying to get the states if they can win it coming up on Tuesday. So, no, I don't see any upsets. I think it's just baseball. We had the 2 8 seeds with Bethel and Gloucester from the PD.
Oh, what about my Packers, Smithfield Packers? Go to boys soccer first.
Boys soccer right now?
Boys soccer right now.
They're getting ready to – they just had their I just got it too, the all Bay Rivers District teams, as I try to pull it up on my touchpad here. You want the boys soccer breakdown. And by the way, some really good teams in that 4B region that they would see in the States. You're left now with, although there was a 1-8 upset, Powhatan knocked off the 1 Chancellor. Oh my, that's a stunner. So Powhatan plays Atlee coming up on Tuesday. Spotsylvania, the 2 seed, takes on Mechanicsville, the 6, which knocked out Monacan, the 3. So really, of your powers, the only one left is Spotsylvania, as both Chancellor and Monacan got bounced. That could bode well for your Packers. But Smithfield's the 1, taking on Lafayette, the 4 at Warner Stadium, coming up on Tuesday at 5. The second game of that double dip is Jamestown, the 2, which shut out Hampton 11-0, like Smithfield shut out Churchland 11-0. Jamestown takes on Gloucester in a 2-3 matchup. So it could very well be, well, it very well will be. There's no could be. It will be an all Bay Rivers District final in 4A as Hampton and Churchland, the ones that were not from the BRD, got bounced in the quarters. It's just a matter if it's Smithfield, Jamestown, Smithfield, Gloucester, or Lafayette, Jamestown, Lafayette, Gloucester as your championship matchup for the regions. But I will say Spotsylvania is going to be a tough out in the States. You get through them, though, you can win the whole kit and caboodle potentially in Class 4. How about that? It'd be a great year for those Packers.
Go Packers. I think we can do it.
I love how you incorporate with winning teams we. You didn't say anything about other teams in spring sports, fall sports, winter sports that aren't having success. But by golly, Ed Young's going to make sure he's a part of the winning formula. He's going to make sure he is. Jump on the bandwagon.
I am for them. Therefore, I is we is I.
Okay.
And together we will get it done.
Nikki Robertson of Jamestown was the player of the year, but you got a bunch of first teamers over there, from Carter Goetz to Brody Doolin to Danny Cox to Jackson Young. I'm probably leaving out some. Carson McMillan, your goalkeeper. There you have it. All got honored on the all BRD team for boys soccer. But it is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Before we do take a time out, are you more surprised at the Knicks sweeping the Cavs? Last week on the show, you declared the Cavs would win Game 3. That didn't happen. Are you B, more surprised at Vegas sweeping Colorado? C, Kenny Atkinson keeping his job after the Knicks swept the Cavs? or D, that we have a Game 7 tonight in the NBA's Western Finals with OKC and the Spurs. So again, your options are D, Game 7 tonight, surprise, yes or no. C, Atkinson didn't get fired. B, the Cavs got swept away, or I should say it's A. And B, the Avalanche got swept away. To me, it's pretty simple on that options list.
I'm going Avalanche getting swept.
Okay.
1. Cavs getting swept. 2.
No surprise also.
Not surprised at all. We have Game 7 Spurs OKC. Not at all. And I'll be honest, Kenny Atkinson should not be fired. His little, not tirade, but his talk about we're okay. We've won 2 of these 3
Analytics. Yeah.
That was just, don't do that. Don't do that again. But no, I don't think he deserves to be fired. I think he's done a really good job with the Cavs. So keep him on board. But I did not see in any stretch, any way, Colorado getting swept. And really, I'll be honest, I didn't see Cleveland. They're very close, but the one that surprised me a little bit more was Colorado because I had to win in the whole thing, National Hockey League championship, and they didn't. I don't have the Knicks winning an NBA championship, even though I hope they do. I don't see them doing it. You're
such a bandwagon hopper. I hope the Knicks wins. As my other team, the Celtics, didn't get in. Like the Raiders, my number 1 team, the Steelers, my number 2 team, my number 3. Nobody cares about your 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. Go fly kite. I'll tell you what's more shocking than all 4 of those things that I laid out for you is what happened on men's tennis in the French Open. As literally going into the French Open, the guy that dominates the clay court, Mr. Carlos Alcaraz, I should say the guy that dominated was Rafael Nadal, but he retired recently. Of course, the other great in tennis, Roger Federer, retired as well. But Alcaraz gets hurt. He's the top guy in the sport in a lot of sense. 1A, 1B with Yannick Sinner, who's up in the 3rd set. I don't know if you saw it. He had like a 99.9% chance to win against Sorondolo, whoever the guy who played was. I don't even know. Some guy off the scrap heap. He comes out of nowhere and beats him down in the 3rd set, wins it in 5. Sinner stunned in the heat. He just ran out of gas. If you can't move in the heat and you're heat exhaustion, you're in playing a sport like tennis, you're in trouble. And then yesterday, Novak Djokovic, tennis's favorite villain, who's viewed as the GOAT, trying to get his 25th major championship. This is his best chance now because you have no Nadal and Federer. They've retired. Sinner is been knocked out. Alcaraz isn't participating. He's injured. And he loses to the 28 seed Fonseca. So the men's side of the French Open is just total carnage. It's unreal. You have upsets galore, no names galore. That's a real head shaker as you're shaking your head to show that you're just in disbelief at everything, right?
I'd heard about because of the heat, wasn't able to continue on. But it
for Sinner.
I didn't hear anybody else that the heat really got to.
Well, no, Djokovic just collapsed. I don't think it was a matter of heat. He's older. What is he, 37, 38 years of age? He's near the end of his great run of dominance. Yeah. It was the big 3 in that era of Nadal, Federer, Djokovic. And now you don't have the top 2 younger players in the sport, Alcaraz and Sinner, there because Alcaraz didn't play with the injury. Sinner's stunned in the heat. And here we are with it's going to be a surprise champion, whoever wins it. Even if you get one of the more recognizable names in the sport that can win it, but the big name guys are out. So right now, as we sit here today, your favorite to win and it's not Matteo Berrettini, I don't think, but I'm going to pull it up here. But it's not one of your household names, really. It might be Medvedev. I think Medvedev is still alive in this. But it's wide open, Ed, very much wide open, which is not the norm for tennis when it gets to your big majors, your Aussie Open, your French Open, your, of course, U.S., and obviously Wimbledon's the big one. But it's a little bit of a surprise there, to say the least. A little bit of a surprise, to say the least. Right now, your favorite, if I look at the odds boards for that's Wimbledon. They apparently have locked it, I guess, because it's in play as we speak here. But your Wimbledon favorite coming up is Sinner, then Djokovic, because he doesn't look like Alcaraz is going to participate come July. But so I don't have a live favorite at the moment. They might have it later, but it's wide open, very much wide open. They need somebody to give a little juice for the tennis here for the French. Really need a little juice.
Yeah, you're right. Usually when it's the big majors, you're going to have your named player. A named player is going to win it. But now this one's going to be wide open, so we'll get a new named player for the ensuing majors the rest of the year. So we'll see how that works.
We'll see how that works. We'll take a timeout. We got more coming your way. Again, Steve Aschburner is set to join us at the top of the hour, 11:05 this morning Eastern, to chat about game number 7 of the Western Conference Finals and everything going on in the NBA playoffs. It's all on the way here on 757 Sports Talk. You're watching with us on Cova Sports TV, where they're supposed to do what, Ed?
You have to like, share, and please subscribe. It's easy.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there. Because here, you are more. One Life Fitness.
Portco is your local nonprofit organization dedicated to economic empowerment through employment for people with disabilities. We focus on abilities, not limitations, providing on-the-job vocational support. Find your pathway to employment. Contact us or learn more at portco.org.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
At Rush Soccer, our love of the game and the community we create doesn't stop when we leave the pitch or when the season ends. We are more than an individual player, team, club, or league. We are a truly global community of athletes, parents, coaches, professionals, and fans. We believe that youth sports and the pathway to a lifelong love of soccer have the power to form deep, meaningful connections that will fundamentally shape our players and those in our community. We believe that what we feel is the key to what we can achieve. Feel the pride. Feel the confidence. Feel the legacy. Feel the connection. Feel the trust. Feel the acceptance. Feel the purpose. Feel the difference. Feel the rush.
I'm here with Green Run Class of 2027 defensive back Tayron Whitehead as he's getting ready for a senior campaign with the Stallions after their college workout showcase. Tayron, it's been fast and furious, huh? From freshman year to now, getting ready for your senior season. How stoked are you for what's ahead?
I'm excited, you know what I'm saying? We got a few big games coming. It's been a long ride. I've been with this team for a long time. You know, my pops coaches.
Sure.
I'm just ready to get to it.
I remember when your pops was a heck of a player back in the day at Kempsville, All-American in Norfolk State, also made it to the league, and that's a goal of yours. But let's talk about that big game you mentioned, Huff, on the schedule in September. I know you got some business before that in the district, getting ready for everything with your scrimmages, but how excited are you that you get a chance to play against a nationally ranked team, top 50 in the country, outside the state of Virginia, and get to show what the beach and Green Run's all about?
I'm excited. You know, it puts us on a national scale. You know, it shows people that don't know about us, they're going to learn.
Sure.
Time from the game. So
your recruitment's taken off since last May. Here we are as May going into your senior year. I know grades matter to you. It's a 3.65 GPA or higher already. You've had some home visits with Air Force. You've had some visits at different schools. What is it about the next level that's going to be the things that matter to you as you go through the decision-making process?
I always say the things that matter the most are the academic side of it, obviously, how I'm valued in the program, and just the overall developmental ability of the coaches there.
Sure. You know what you want to study in college?
Either accounting or electrical engineering, some of that nature.
Okay, good deal. Now, you had that visit I mentioned with Air Force, Coach Mark Bayco. Tell me what that's like with them and where they are in the picture. Are they a school you're considering?
Yeah, they're definitely a school I'm considering. You know, they value me a lot. They have those 3 things I said, and they value playing me.
Sure.
Especially as soon as possible once I get there.
I think your first offer was Syracuse. That's always a special when you get the first one, always. ACC. Virginia Tech's in the mix. A lot of Green Runs guys from Virginia Tech. Who else is kind of schools that you're high on? Because now you're getting to a point where you get so many offers, you can kind of choose who's in the mix. Who are the schools that are meaning the most to you right now or showing the most love at this point?
Okay, so I'd say other than the Air Force, of course, we got Army, Virginia Tech showing a lot of love. We got Elon showing a lot of love as well.
Okay.
And we got a lot more coming, but I'll keep you updated for sure.
Sure, and I know you got some guys that are former Steins with the Hokies. What did you learn? I was talking with Coach Williams earlier that Knowledge Herald took you under his wing and you were coming up. Now you're taking the younger guys under his wing. It seems like you guys are both students of the game and you're both film junkies.
Right. You know, Knowledge, they always compare me to him. You know, especially the way we carry ourselves to the game. You know, it's always all those guys come through the program. They took me under the wing, especially since I've been in the program so long. You know.
Awesome.
Right.
Now I don't want to ask what you're better at than him or he better than you, but I want to know what in your game do you feel like sets you apart? What are the things colleges are saying to you and that you hear are your best skills or attributes on the football field?
The colleges usually mention my instincts, just my overall football IQ, and then my ability, reactiveness. Be able to break on the ball, things of that nature.
Sure. What are you working to get better at this coming year to take your game up a peg from second team all region to being a guy that's first team all region, first team all state, and one of the leaders in the entire state defensively?
I'm always working on athleticism and getting a little bit bigger, and then on top of that, I just want to become more of a technician as a whole.
Sure. Now I know you being a student of the game, you watch football. So who are the guys you emulate on the football field or enjoy watching the most when you put on?
I say my favorite safety right now is really Kirby Joseph.
Okay.
I also like Kirby Joseph, Kobe Bryant, and I've always been a huge fan of Reed Woolen. I like the Seahawks, even though I'm not from around here, but around there, I should say. But
awesome.
Those guys I always watch.
Love it. And lastly, for Tehran Whitehead and the Stallions to have a special, memorable season, I know a state championship is always a goal, but last year you lost that heartbreak in the region championship to Indian River. What did you learn from that, and what do you have to get better at as a group to achieve some of those goals ahead?
I learned that we really got to hold ourselves to the highest standard of, especially some of our past victories. You know what I'm saying? Hold ourselves to as good as those teams were in the past. And just, work every day to be there.
Well, watch out for him on the football field this year and beyond. Tehran Whitehead, thank you so much. All the best.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
All right, we apologize about that. We're having some technical difficulties there, but we're back here with you after you heard from Tehran Whitehead of the Green Run Stallions and Ed, a couple of players that have made their college choice here lately, one of which includes Carter Jones of the Poquoson Bull Islanders, who just this past week on the program we asked you who you thought he'd pick. He had his finalists. He had some big boys in the mix. He had some SEC schools, some Big Ten schools, a bunch of big players, if you will, that were under consideration, but you nailed it with the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, it's just a feeling. I have no idea why I went that way. I didn't have no insight. Nobody told me anything. I just felt maybe that would be his best fit, and very happy for him. Really good selection for him, and look forward to trying to keep following him on the college level.
Absolutely. He's done a fantastic job. Big lineman that's been fantastic. What do you want to know what school out of state Greenland's going to play? It's going to be Huff out of North Carolina. They play early on in the season. Has been a top 50 program nationally for a number of years here lately. They've been just fantastic. I think Carter's going to be great, by the way, at Clemson. They've had some big linemen, similar build. It seems like a great fit. Tristan Lee comes to mind from Robinson High School out of Northern Virginia, and I just think he fits the mold of what Dabo Swinney wants, the faith, family, football education, all those pieces. And we're going to get Carter, I'm sure, back on the program because we had him on during, I think it was late November after they won the regional championship before their state semifinal game, as they've got some unfinished business in Class 2, trying to be one of those last teams standing. Our man out there, football 2026 P3W says, Lance not getting a new football field. Any other team's getting a new field this fall? Yes, Oscar Smith is getting a new field. Great question. Now we'll see if it's ready in time for game 1, but they are going to be ushering in a new field, turf field at Beard DeLong Easley Field over there in Chesapeake for their big season opener, the matchup against Gonzaga from DC, who, as you know, Ed, beat them last year, the only team to beat them last season. Oscar Smith looking for some revenge at home. Now, of course, Gonzaga doesn't have Carter Meadows like they did last year, but we'll see if they can exact some revenge on that national power, just like Huff is from Carolina, getting ready to take on Green Run come September.
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, is Lancetown getting a turf field too?
I guess it's the first I've heard of that, but I suppose they are. I know the Beach is trying to get as many of their turfs installed that hadn't been yet. So that's news to me, but I guess they are. I know Robert Jackson's excited about his young Eagles, led by a really dazzling junior quarterback in Anthony Turner this year. So we'll see what's in store for them. They usually have a team camp in July that we've covered the last few years, as you well know. Get a lot of sound interviews right before the season starts up in August. And we plan to go back out there, assuming they're going to have it there at Lancetown. So it's news to me that they are. I believe they were one of the last to not get a turf installed yet. I think them, Tallwood, and somebody can come and tell me the other one I'm missing. It might have been Cox or somebody, but all of them, we're trying to get all 11 schools in the Beach with turfs now. I know Kempsville's got it, Kellum's got it, Bayside's got it. Most of your schools, First Colonial, they've been putting it in here lately. Ocean Lakes might be one that still needs to put theirs in, but in PA, I know was getting there. So they're all trying to get all the schools in the Beach with turf fields across, which a lot of the schools are doing that, and I think it makes a lot of sense with the weather we get around here. And it's just the surface that they're using now.
Yeah, I mean, I know that when it seemed like the Suffolk schools, Lakeland and Kings Fork, Nancy River, when they got each of them got turf fields, now it seems like a trend. And I would imagine upkeep is easier. I think initially the cost is expensive, but then again, even if you redo a grass field, I would think you would have still a cost, but probably the maintenance overall in the long run is better on a turf field. Of course, the first thing would come to mind, I would imagine, is injuries compared to a grass field on a turf field. And what does it do to knees and joints, so to speak? I think those are things people would look at when they make a decision on. Money is probably the one thing definitely look for, but really it should be the health of players long term on a turf field. But that's what it seems everybody's going to.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna take a timeout. We've got more coming your way here on 757 Sports Talk. Don't touch that dial. It's Cova Sports TV.
What is more? Is it more reps, more strength, more stamina? We say it's all of that, but it's greater than just what's in the mirror. It's about improving your mental and physical health. More is a feeling of achievement, fulfillment, confidence. It's looking better, feeling better, being better, and it's our mission to get you there, because here you are more. One Life Fitness.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship. And that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us. And the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What makes a life a good one? Is it our adventures? Or the friends we find along the way? Is it the challenges we conquer together? Maybe it's the people's lives we touch every single day. So, what makes a life a good one? You'll have to figure that one out for yourself.
Well, it's everybody.
It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Matt Hatfield and the one and only Coach Ed Young, every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on Cova Sports TV. From high school football and basketball to the NFL, MLB, college sports, and the NBA, if it's making headlines, they are breaking it down. Bold takes, big-time guests, and a few laughs, especially at the expense of that basketball coach Ed Young. Catch it on Cox TV and your view, and don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube at Cova Sports TV.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
And welcome back to 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And we have a special guest with us, Ed. He is an NBA.com senior writer, does outstanding work for many, many years. You can follow him online there. Steve Aschburner with us as we break down Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs before the NBA Finals commence coming up on Wednesday night. Steve, thank you so much for the time. How's life treating you?
So far, so good. Just a lot of unknown for what's going to happen in the next 48 to 72 hours for me, because the winner of tonight's game will determine where I fly on Monday for the start of the NBA Finals. So not much advance notice, but I'll trade the assured knowledge for a Game 7. So it's not that big a difference going to San Antonio or Oklahoma City. So it's I got to connect through Atlanta regardless.
This is true, and I'm sure my co-host here, who's a longtime high school and college basketball coach, will enjoy reminiscing. You do some great pieces of some of the greats of yesteryear, like the Wilt Chamberlains, the Bill Russells, and so on and so forth. So I'm sure the comps and questions coming up on Wemby, where he stands with some of these young big men here, is coming up. But let me start off with you here first, Steve. We have this matchup. It looks like this is going to be, we've talked about it on our show, like the beginning of a rivalry in sports, which you've had in other sports, like in football, the Manning versus the Brady, or other sports you could reference. But this Spurs OKC Thunder, granted, Nikola Jokic is still there in Denver. Granted, we'll see what other teams that emerge, perhaps the Lakers, the Mavs, you name them. But it feels like we could see this for years and years and years to come. Do you get that sense here, too, given how young these franchises are and the stars that are in place?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was just a year ago that we were talking about Oklahoma City as the next dynasty. When you look at the cupboard of assets that Sam Presti's compiled for that franchise in terms of draft picks, depth already with the roster, to me, a pivotal aspect of that team is we thought for a few years they were going to have to go out and get that flagpole guy, that cornerstone player. And little did we know that he acquired that guy, in the Paul George trade, which saved them, the need to go out and get an established star from somebody else. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander on the rise, and he's completed his superstar development right there on site. So that was a leap forward for that team. But yeah, I think frankly the Thunder and their fans, they would like to tuck away another title at least before they face a serious challenge to their dynastic ambitions. It's coming earlier than many of us suspected, and certainly I would assume that they would have anticipated with San Antonio, being on the brink of this upset and precluding them. I mean, turning them into a one and possibly done if it comes to San Antonio running off its own string of championships. So, yeah, I think it's a great rivalry. It raises the bar for the other teams that fancy themselves to be contenders in the Western Conference, certainly. And tonight's game will determine a lot of what we see over the next couple or three seasons, just based on which of these teams gets what it wants.
I think we've had 7 nights of games decided by 9+ points in the conference finals. We'll see if we get a close game number 7 tonight with the Spurs and Thunder. Steve Aschburner, our guest. You can follow him online on the X at Ash, ASCHNB, and also check out his great work on NBA.com here on 757 Sports Talk. Ed?
Hey, Steve, great to have you on here.
Hi, Ed.
As I watch these playoffs, especially this series, it's brought to the forefront, I think, almost more so than the games, the officiating. As you see in social media, a lot of memes being sent out about a certain official who is from our area, well-known, longtime NBA official, done a great job, Tony Brothers. In your mindset, is it very noticeable on your end? Also, what role is it playing? Is it hurting the league? Is it just people having fun?
Well, I think you make a great point. I mean, and I think the focus shifts somewhat. The spotlight shifts to the officials, in part because the teams are so good, the margins are so thin, and so you start to look at what makes the difference between, highly accomplished, highly skilled teams, and invariably the refs get more attention at playoff time. Tony Brothers seems to have taken over for, the not that long ago retired Joey Crawford as the resident hard ass of the NBA officials, where the players know that if they get a little too carried away with Tony Brothers, they could have a very short evening. And it was the same with Joey, particularly late in his officiating days. I don't think that's great. I mean, I think it's good that there's a respectful wariness of players and coaches towards the officials. But I think the best dynamic always is when there can be conversation between those guys. And you're not just afraid that you're going to get a cross-eyed glance from a ref and that's it. You're going to get 2 quick technicals or a second technical if you've already got another one. And so in terms of the style and the way they let these guys play, to me, it's somewhat inexplicable how much it varies from night to night. I mean, to use baseball as a reference point, where each home plate umpire has his own strike zone, and it's the job of both teams, ideally, to adapt to that strike zone that day. And okay, he's giving us this corner, he's not giving us that. He's going with more high pitches, But I don't know, with 3 referees making all the calls, sharing in the calls, I don't think you can even get that level of consistency. You can't adjust to one guy when there's a sense the other guy is going to call it differently right there in real time. So, human error. I don't know that they can computerize this stuff. Robots would be, I think, a long ways away still from calling all of the intricate, subtle movements and contacts in the NBA. I wish it were more of an exact science. To me, the best way to do it is to allow a certain amount of physical play, to let it be known, not now, but let it be known in October, November, December, January, what's not going to fly in terms of flopping, trying to sell calls, because I think that's bad for the game. I think that's not entertaining. I think it's frustrating. It doesn't bring out the best skills of these, extremely talented players if a flop, on the least little bit of appearance of contact, or, falling down when you're dealing with a pick and roll, and that those calls are always going a certain way against the roller. I think that becomes a problem. And I think the league we all suspect the league sends out directives, series by series, maybe game by game. It's like, let's not get carried away with these calls. Let's maybe back off on those calls, or watch for this, or look at that. And even that, I wish it weren't so, but you can see it. And I guess it is on the players and the coaches to sort of test the waters, see what they seem to be allowing early in the game tonight, and then hope like hell they'll be allowing the exact same stuff by the late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, some big bullet point topics. Certainly the flopping, the inordinate amount of threes. The game has certainly become a 3-point barrage, if you will. The tanking and resting situations. And Adam Silver coming out early this week talking about he thinks the officiating has just been incredible or terrific was his word, perhaps. We have some questions for you too, Steve. People will chime in on our YouTube page. And if you got a question for Steve, you can hit us up on Cova Sports TV. One of our viewers wants to know, were the Knicks really that good, or were the Cavs really that bad as New York swept them and now gets a lot of rest? And I'll take you back to 1998, Steve. It reminds me a lot of the Jazz when they swept the Lakers, had all that layoff rest, and the Bulls had that hard-fought 7-game series with the Pacers. The Knicks have been resting. They've done it for 3 series now, and then the winner of this has just been a rock fight, Spurs-Thunder. A little bit more of a break, I guess, than maybe that was back in 98, but it seems pretty similar in a lot of respects.
Well, I think we saw at the start of the Cleveland series, we saw the difference between rest and rust. The way Cleveland jumped out to, what was it, a 22-point lead in that game, only to have the Knicks chase them down and win, and in essence, cut their hearts out right then, whatever hearts that the Cavaliers collectively had. I think what you asked initially, it was a combination. I think Cleveland once again it was disappointing at this time of season. I think that they have at best the last 3 years they have barely met expectations and generally underperformed. And the Knicks have gotten better. The Knicks, they dispatched and they scored a lot of points against not just Cleveland but earlier opponents too in this postseason. So I think they're peaking at the right time. They seem to have come together this season with the very difficult chore to go one step farther than they had gone last season. They made it to the conference finals with Tom Thibodeau as their head coach. Now they got Mike Brown. Was Mike Brown the difference? Well, I got to give him some credit for being the difference because they have reached the finals. On the other hand, that coaching change removed a layer of blame from the players as well. And you couldn't, they'll just get rid of this coach now if we don't advance. So, I do think that there was accountability that was sort of shifted to the Knicks players a little bit more than they had a year ago. And I do think that, with Mike Brown and his staff, I think that they played a little different. I think that they have gotten the ball out of Jalen Brunson's hands a little bit more, for instance. I think they were a little more mindful of the minutes, though I've never been a big, Tibbs plays guys too many minutes critic anyway. But I just think it's a matter of, the Knicks were peaking. They came out of the East where maybe things weren't quite as rigorous. And, they've put up some ridiculous scoring margins in these playoff games. I normally don't put a lot of stock in, margin of victory. I know that's supposed to mean something over the course of a season, and it really does indicate a team's strength. I always figure, well, if you got enough points that you can play your backup guys at garbage time, and the margin changes, big deal. It's not as accurate as you would hope, but apparently it does mean something. And margin of victory is certainly in New York's favor at this stage.
Mm-hmm. Ed?
Steve, when I look at the OKC and San Antonio series, myself, what little knowledge I have of it, I had OKC in 7. But I told Matt I would not be surprised San Antonio wins because I looked at the regular season and they did a good job. They handled OKC in the regular season. People told me, you can't, in the NBA, you can't worry about regular season because they don't play hard. It's not a true indication. But I think it helped San Antonio realize they went from, I hope we can win maybe, or let's come into this new situation, to the point of we own you. We've beaten you before. And it's led a little bit to that physical play. What kind of stock did you put in the regular season for this series, and really, or the playoffs just totally different. And OKC is just not at 100%.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you, Ed. I mean, we were aware that what was it, 4-1 in the regular season?
Yes.
And that's one extra game because of the NBA Cup thing. But I think most people still picked OKC in spite of that, which shows you what many people do think of regular season series and matchups. But yeah, you make a good point mentally. The fact that we, if I'm on the Spurs, our team walked out of the gym that night and we prevailed, and we beat the relentless machine, the soon-to-be dynasty of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that does have some lingering effects in a good way. They saw what could be done, and then when they won the in overtime in game one, that to me, solidified that. And it's like, okay, well, here it is in the here and now. Now, this is not just some one of 82. This is everybody's at their best, at least in terms of intensity and effort. The Oklahoma City's had injury issues. You can say, well, they've survived injuries in the past, but not in a fever pitch against the best possible opponent that they're facing. So we'll see. I think the only way you could have gone wrong picking this series was if you picked either of these teams to be a sweep. I mean, it seemed like it was going to be, a blood match, and that's really what we've gotten. I wish more of the games had been closer, but if we get a nail biter in Game 7, it'll be hard to complain at all about what we've had out there. It's interesting to me that so much rides on a 22-year-old, who's still, I think, a shadow of what he's going to be in this league. But I guess that's what happens when you're 7'4", making millions. You get a lot of blame, you get a lot of credit, and fortunately, personality-wise, he seems to have the maturity to handle most of it.
Yeah, we might be due, Ed, for a game like we had game number 1, double overtime, because so far in this postseason, the closest Game 7 we've had in these playoffs, which has produced, I think, 4 of them, was 9 points. 18.5 is the margin. So we might be due for a white knuckler here tonight to get us set for the finals coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah, I would think you would like to think it would be close. Most Game 7s, you hate to see them being blowouts, but it would be a close game. And I just think that, OKC at home, slight advantage. But I think the big thing too is without Jalen Williams, it's definitely hurt OKC. The further they have gone on, it's really hurt them. It kind of exposed them. Really, one of their better scorers, one of their better defenders. That's really hurt them. Where San Antonio is operating, full force. And the thing with Wemby, he gets that 40-point game, and all of a sudden everybody says, "Yep, here he is. He's the next best thing." Going to be people went crazy. It's like people want to be able to say they saw the greatest, or they reached out and touched the greatest. And he's like you say, he's only 22 years old. He's going to be better. He's going to have to get a little stronger. We hate to think that 7'4" you're not strong enough, but and he's going to change the perspective of the teams in the West. I think, Steve, you're going to see teams draft some big mobile guys, 7-footers, to be able to cover him, counteract what he has. And in the past, you haven't really seen the big 7-footers get drafted like they did way back in the day. Your perspective on that?
Well, I mean, I worked in Minnesota for a long time, and Kevin McHale was presiding over the Timberwolves during much of that time. And, McHale always said, you don't see a lot of 7-footers on the street corner that you can just go out and sign. I mean, that's a tough ask compared to, okay, we can find some 6'6" wings if we need that to take on, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in Boston, things like that. So, it becomes a bigger ask. And even then, they're not just 7-foot lummoxes. They've got to be guys that can move around on the floor. It's part of the reason why Wembanyama is so special in his skills package, and why I guess I can tolerate when he drifts outside. Every time he shoots a 3-pointer, I'm thinking, pretty much if I'm his opponent, I want him doing that, as opposed to what he could be doing, asserting himself in the paint. On the other hand, by taking the opposing bigs farther and out of their comfort zone, that can soften things up. That can create lanes and movement for his teammates. So I guess I'm okay with it, or I've come to be a little bit more okay with it. On the one hand, it's sort of like, well, maybe get down in the post, master that a little more. Spend your time trying to be Hakeem Olajuwon before you try to be Steph Curry, and so we'll see. But no, I think it's always been a copycat league. People say that Minnesota was in a position to give San Antonio trouble because of Rudy Gobert. Some felt that Oklahoma City, they built themselves to face Boston in the finals more than a team like Minnesota, which was built with a big initially to take on Denver, but they could transfer some of that Gobert size to facing Wembanyama. So yeah, it is a funky thing. I mean, you need to have as versatile a roster of playable guys as you can. I think Oklahoma City has, they have the capability to go big with Hartenstein and Holmgren as they need to against Wembanyama. They, also will throw in smaller guys, whether it's Caruso or Dort or whomever, to sort of get up under Wembanyama and make him uncomfortable. It's like a praying mantis, having to deal with a feisty beetle or something down there at the floor level. And so there's different ways to do this, but yeah, I mean, teams do adapt to what the prevailing successful style and or rosters are. And, we'll see that. I know Minnesota, they've got this Behringer kid who's in the hopper already. And he's a French 7+ footer who they think, well, that'll be a Wemby counter, if not a Wemby killer, a Wemby counter. So, the styles all change. I mean, on the hand, Roy Hibbert couldn't make the adjustment to the stretch 5 era, and he hasn't found a way back into the league. So, easier said than done to find the perfect 7-footers.
You make some great points. It's all about styles and matchups. I was just speaking the other day with an NBA scout, Steve, who told me in 2008 the Cavs, he felt, built their team with LeBron James led then to take on the Celtics. And it ended up being Orlando that they lost to in the conference finals, that team with that towering front line with Dwight Howard, Rashard Lewis, Hedo Turkoglu, and sort of that point forward facilitating role with the assists. Backcourt was Rafer Alston and Courtney Lee. Off the bench, Mikal Petrus was really an X factor for the Magic as they went into the finals and lost to the Lakers that year. But my final one before we let Ed finish up with you and let you run here, we thank you so much for your time. You've been gracious, and we know we look forward to reading your outstanding work on NBA.com. All right, finish this up for me. A little mini breakdown. If it's Knicks Spurs, what do you think of that matchup? If it's Knicks Thunder, what do you think of that matchup?
I think the Knicks potentially could beat San Antonio. Just, here I am again, discounting San Antonio because of their lack of experience at each level. First time this group really has been in the playoffs, so obviously each round is going to be a new experience, and so this would be a return to the finals for that franchise that this group has not dealt with. But I do think that New York, especially if Mitchell Robinson can play effectively with his broken right pinky that he had surgically addressed a few days ago, if he's able to be most of what he is as a defender, as an intimidator at the rim, as an offensive rebounder, and actually, grab the ball and not lose possession because he's got a hand injury, I think that the Knicks are pretty capable. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns, he might not have the overall skill package that Wembanyama has, but boy, he is a dangerous, serious, and quick release threat from 3-point range. And so Wemby, if you can get him out of the paint, then all of a sudden your other players are a little less intimidated in terms of working closer to the basket. So I think I would like the Knicks. Would I pick them? I don't know. I haven't had to think about the picks yet, but I do think that they could beat San Antonio. I just think that the experience of the Thunder, the versatility of how they can match up with an opponent and force issues in matchups. I think Oklahoma City would be a tougher topple for New York in the next round. But, who knows? I mean, this New York team is fun to watch, and I give Jalen Brunson, all his props for, being the David in a league of Goliaths, and, to see him, do as well as possible, even just in a 6 or 7 game finals, win or lose, would, I think, be pretty impressive, and have him on his way for sure to Springfield down the road.
Yeah, even Becky Hammond willing to give him his flowers if he pulls it off to join the little men to win a championship like Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas. Ed?
Yeah, I think Stevie hit right on the head. I think the world wants to see the Knicks win it, especially the people in New York City, because they've been away
outside of San
long.
Antonio and OKC.
Yeah, and you're right. If Brunson can do something like that, would put him in that echelon of, wow, look what this guy did, because you always look at the team that won the title and who was their best player, and it puts Brunson up in there with the Knick all-time greats. I don't really think he's top 5 or 6 like a lot of people say they are, but that's a whole nother story. But, with Wemby being so good, I got to bring my man up. I always look for situations. I've often said Wilt Chamberlain is the most dominant player in the history of the game of basketball. Yeah, Shaq is nice at 340 pounds. Wilt was 275. I think Wilt was better skilled than Shaq. Blah, blah, blah. People say Wilt didn't play against anybody. I think he played against more Hall of Famers at the center position, if I'm not mistaken. I saw this stat somewhere, than any other era of big men. So with Wemby being good now, I saw some people bringing up, well, what would Wemby do against Wilt? Could Wilt cover Wemby? Because everybody wants to know who can cover Wemby. By
the way, is that Steve in the background with Wilt Chamberlain right there? I think it is. That's you, right, Steve?
Yeah, I'm the guy immediately above his head. You can't really see my face. There's some other photos
I didn't even recognize that.
Show me a little better. I'm not the guy in the tie, but I'm the guy right above Wilt's head.
Oh, okay, that guy. Okay,
1997 NBA Top 50 press opportunity. So I've always been a Wilt fan from the time, I was growing up in Chicago when the Bulls were good for the first time, pre-Michael Jordan, with Dick Motta, Bob Love, Chet Walker, early 70s. And Wilt was out there as a defender and rebounder primarily for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I think it was just his demeanor, the disdain he had at the foul line, just throw those balls up there at that point. He didn't care about free throws. The goatee, which wasn't as common, the headband that he wore. He was a fascinating guy. He seemed churlish out there on the court, and I kind of liked that. He blew me off for an autograph request at Chicago Stadium after a game one time, and I look at that as like, I got a kick out of the way he did it. It was tremendous. So I didn't even hold that against him. So he's always been my favorite NBA player of all time. And, some people will say Wembanyama, with some of the numbers he's putting up and some of the things he's doing, it's forcing modern fans and casual fans, because it's invoking, hey, the first guy since Wilt to do this or that. It's forcing people to go back and realize what Wilt Chamberlain accomplished, before they were born. It's a funky thing in our society where it's sort of like, well, it didn't, I wasn't around when it happened, so it has less value. It has less weight. It's sort of the flip side of the fear of missing out. It's like, well, if it didn't happen, if I wasn't around for it, I can't let that be so great, because then I did miss out. So it's whereas the best compliment I ever got when I was a newspaper sports reporter was early in my career. I think it was 23 years old. And one of the grizzled editors there said to me in the newsroom, he said, you do some of your best work about stuff that happened before you were born. I would go back and learn about, the history of tobacco chewing in baseball and write a story about that and things like, and I just think we're all supposed to do that. That's, the whole lesson about history. You don't want to be doomed to repeat the bad stuff, and you want to benefit from the accumulated wisdom of everything that's come before. And, with Wilt, I just think people are selling themselves short if they don't learn what he did, respect what he did because it wasn't all against plumbers and firemen. They were legit players, Hall of Fame centers, very close to his size back in the 60s that he thrived against. I think Wilt would snap Victor Wembanyama in two if it was prime Wilt against young Wemby in the 60s. I mean, they players then that will talk about how Wilt, if he had had a mean streak, they would have ended up with broken wrists and arms trying to challenge his dunks. He was very careful to just lay the ball over their reach when they dared to attempt those type of things. He blocked Gus Johnson in midair, and Gus Johnson got sent down to the court on his back. I think he might have, shifted vertebrae because of the landing that Wilt imposed on him. I mean, so, Wilt, like Babe Ruth, I mean, there are people that I remember Don Mattingly once said that he thought Babe Ruth was like a Paul Bunyan myth, fictional character because of some of the stuff that he was said to have done. And I think Wilt's the same way. People think that he's like a myth or a made-up cartoon player. But all that stuff was real. And, Wembanyama can invoke some of that. And I think that's going to be nice if the closest possible reference point for things that Wembanyama is going to be doing end up being Wilt Chamberlain, because it's nice to knit today's game back with what came before, because without what came before, we're not even where we're at right now.
Yeah, excellent words of wisdom there from Steve Aschburner, NBA.com. Legends might pass away, but they live forever when it comes to their accomplishments like Chamberlain's on the court. Well, thank you so much for the time. Look forward to getting you back on the program again soon. Safe travels to wherever you're headed at San Antonio or OKC for the finals, and I'm sure we'll be following your work, your outstanding coverage on NBA.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. I think we might have a close Game 7 tonight because no matter what's going on, James Harden won't be there.
This is true. No James Harden, so it should be entertaining there. And that's another story for another time what's happened there. But, Steve, thanks so much, and we'll talk again down the road.
You got it.
Thanks, Steve. Steve Aschburner, our guest here from NBA.com. Terrific work online. Again, check him out on the Twitter or the X at Ash. That's ASCH. NBA. And I know you're going to love getting him back on because some of his stories, I don't know if you've read a lot. I've read his work for many years. He does a lot of pieces, not just current pieces, which are just in-depth, great analysis. I'm big on the numbers he does, but also some of the paying homage to some of the greats from yesteryear, like a Wilt and some others and neat factoids he puts out there. So check it out, NBA.com. You don't even have to subscribe to go check it out in terms of paying for it. So a lot of it's just free to read and see, and he gives you insight.
That would be me.
That would be you. So that's what I'm saying. Check him out. He was a great spot here today. Gave us more time than we even asked him to give us. He gave us he literally gave us about 30 minutes when we said 15. So there you go. Doubled his time.
And that
we'll double his pay, by the way. Go ahead.
That picture you put up there, I thought that was him in the tie, but he was the guy.
I thought initially was too, but it's the guy. As we'll now have to scroll back up on the screen here to it. We lost it for a second. There we go. There it is. That's his X or Twitter account. Yeah, he's the guy in the white shirt. I thought that was him in the tie too, but that's another guy that was reporting. So, But that's not him. That's another guy. But it's neat to bring that up there and some of the stories he has. He was great to chat with here on the program. We actually tried to connect with him last year, and I think he was in transit, somewhere. And again, we're on Saturdays, but full disclosure, sometimes we'll tape different segments with people that we might get on, people that we've had on a lot, repeat guests such as your Tim Kirchens, your Phil Steeles. They're in high demand, so we try to get them when we can, and we try to keep it lively and hopping for you here throughout. As that commercial promo mentioned, we give you big-time guests from all over, but also hit the local scene in the 757, and a lot of things come right back to 757 because the last guy that I can remember that was an MVP player, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, that played in the finals was Allen Iverson. Played in the NBA finals with Philadelphia 76ers in 2001 and lost to that Lakers team with Shaq and Kobe. And, of course, Iverson had that memorable game 1, and then he got the gentleman's sweep and lost 4 straight. But that was not a great Sixers team that accompanied him, as he had guys like Todd McCulloch and Matt Geiger and Eric Snow and Aaron McKee. They were just kind of decent NBA players, not household names. Dikembe Mutombo was the big name they got at the deadline that year when they dealt Theo Ratliff to Atlanta. But outside of Mutombo, there was really no other all-star player on that team that Iverson pretty much carried on his small frame to a championship. Jalen Brunson's got a little more help with Karl Anthony Towns and Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby and some of these bench players that have stepped up in a big way like Miles McBride. And how about Landry Shamet? The guy was like 92% from three in the Eastern Conference Finals. But it'll be a fascinating finals nonetheless because the Knicks are in it. We got a big game number 7 tonight. And to finish this segment before we go to break here, and then get ready to put the finishing touches on this episode of 757 Sports Talk. We didn't really get into the key player or two for each side. We know Wemby and SGA, how they get the foul line, what they do is going to be on the forefront of everybody's minds, the 2 MVP level players. But to me, for OKC, it's Chet Holmgren. Holmgren's got to play big. And for San Antonio, it's De'Aaron Fox. He's not been the same since he hurt his ankle. We know what Harper and Castle as the backcourt of the future can do. Devin Vassell can shoot it. Keldon Johnson from Virginia, Parkview High School, South Hill, played for Boo Williams, the NBA Sixth Man of the Year. But to me, the barometer for the Spurs is Fox. Can he get in the lane and create and make some plays? And for OKC, you might say it's Alex Caruso or it's McCain. But again, the Thunder have different guys that can hit shots. To me, Chet Holmgren, and I know they have Hartenstein inside as well that can bother Wemby. Holmgren has to play like a man, not a guy that is just spooked by Wemby.
I would agree with that assessment wholeheartedly. It's Fox to me is the biggest thing because at point guard, if your point guard is not 100% or you're running on a backup point guard, you're going to be a little bit in trouble. So it's imperative that he plays as well as he's capable of playing. But you're right, Chet Holmgren, who is a little bit more mobile, 7-footer than Hartenstein is, who can score, could be more of a problem to Wemby. Hartenstein cannot really go out there and cover Wemby on the perimeter. Holmgren can. That he has to play. And, we kept talking all series long, well, Jalen Williams, well, they're not going to have Jalen Williams, so you can't keep saying that. Well, if they had Jalen Williams, they don't. So somebody else has to step up. And they have enough capable players, the Thunder, that is, to step in there. Yes, you want one of your better players, sure. But I'm just saying, you get to this point now where somebody has to step up.
And probably no A.J. Mitchell tonight as well. So it shortens their deep bench. They have the deeper bench than the Spurs, but the other Jalen Williams might have to make some outside corner shots to complement what they've been getting from the others. Lou Dort, we know about him defensively, could be an X factor too, but I think it's those two guys that leap to mind for me. One more segment on this particular episode of 757 Sports Talk, and we're going to pay homage to one of the 757's best baseball players who's hanging it up. Matt Hatfield's going to give you mine top 10 list of baseballers from the 757. We'll see if Ed Young concurs with it, disagrees with it, wants to go nuts with it. In fact, we have one of our comments that wants to know out there, our man Derek out there. Is he back? We have to ask Derek if he's back. Have track and field regionals taken place? I was told that today is the deadline, Derek, and I know a couple of regions like 3A and 4A, I think, finished yesterday. So I know it's been all over the place with weather and different things, and it's sort of like the regionals for baseball. Again, if you want to get the latest item, I would encourage you to go to that vhsl.org link and check out different pages they have for brackets and so forth, so on and so forth when it comes to the tracks and so on. I know they know with track, I think it's Milestat is one of the pages too, Ed. Milestat has a lot of the information.
My big question goes back to Derek. Has he secured a spot for us in where was he at? The Caribbean or somewhere? Aruba?
Yeah, he was out there.
Jamaica. Has he gotten the Hatfield and Young show here, podcast, live from out there in that country where
you like to go to different places. You wanted to go to do the show from Colonial Downs, the horse and track.
That's easy. We got to do that.
I think we're going to be on the road. None of us do the show from there because it could be difficult from a technological standpoint. But I know you and I are scheduled to be on the move in June in Springfield and Richmond, potentially for those Virginia live events for basketball. So you might get some tape segments or some different later times for the show. So check your local listings, as I like to say, for that. But we got all kinds of things happening and moving and grooving here on 757 Sports Talk as it's getting ready for the summertime. But that's one of the advantages that I like about people that always express they from when we were on radio to now, with podcasting, we have more flexibility to do when we can also put your comments on the screen like that for Steve Aschburner and whoever comes on the program to visually see it as well as audio wise. You can hear it. There you have.
I want to do it in the Caribbean so we can take Fool in the pool, put him in the ocean, and then as he does his report, here comes the sharks chasing him. That is what I want to see. That would be epic.
Why do you wish bad things upon me?
Well, if you could swim fast, you'll get away from the shark. I mean,
Derek says he's still in negotiations.
Okay. All right. Well, he's trying. All right, Derek. I appreciate that. But that would be good. Fool in the pool, ocean segment, and here comes a great white, and here goes Hatfield.
Since we started a little bit later than normally, we might go a few minutes beyond 12 noon Eastern. However, as we come back from break, before we get into our baseball topic, we still have a couple more clips we have not played yet. We can save them if you like. But a couple of the quarterbacks from the 757. Would you like to save them for next week or use them? We have not heard our interview with Lonnie Andrews III of Oscar Smith, who's a UVA commit, and we've not heard our interview with Maurice Damo Everett, rising junior and reigning Class 5 State Player of the Year.
Let's go to break, and then out of break, let's see what Mr. Lonnie Andrews has to say.
All right, that's what we will do when we come back here on 757 Sports Talk. And they're watching where?
Live from it's Cova Sports TV. You got to like, you got to share, you got to subscribe.
And when you got a hunkering for pizza, you got to go to Chicho's. You'll hear from them in a moment, too.
For any athlete, making it to the top sometimes comes with a few steps back. That's why parents count on CHKD Sports Medicine, advanced diagnostics, treatment, and rehabilitation for sports injuries just for young athletes like yours. With convenient locations across Hampton Roads and a whole team of experts here to keep your favorite player at the top of their game. CHKD Sports Medicine. Learn more at chkd.org or call the CHKD Sports Injury Hotline.
Cova Painting. We don't just paint, we transform spaces. Visit covapainting.com or call 757-550-7357 and mention the Sportsplex for 10% off of projects over $1,000.
What's up at DQ? Oh, just the best deal ever! The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Bacon cheeseburger for a limited time, plus fries, drink, and a sundae. Yeah, this is not the time to be modest. It's all full size for just $7. And there's bacon on that burger. The $7 Bacon Cheeseburger Meal Deal. Now, for a limited time on the $7 Meal Deal lineup. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
What does happiness mean to you?
Being in the ocean with you, watching you catch super fun waves.
In Virginia Beach, happiness is breaking barriers and savoring the sunshine.
I couldn't pick a better place or a better person to be with. This is what makes me happy.
Happiness is going all out.
And taking it all in.
Here, happiness is whatever you make it. Find yours in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
Here now with Lonnie Andrews III of the back-to-back Class 6 state champion Oscar Smith Tigers, the University of Virginia commit as he gets ready for his senior season. Is it hard for you to believe now that the senior year is almost here? It's coming up on you?
Yeah, it is really hard. You know, time has flown. I think about it almost every day.
And I think deeply about it because I know I'm going to miss high school. I'm going to miss the bonds and relationships that I made with not only the players and the coaches and stuff like that, but, even like the teachers in the building and things of that nature. Like some of these teachers in this building have been teaching since my parents was here. So some of them feel like grandmas, grandpas, auntie, uncles and stuff like that. Yeah. So it hurts me because I'm about to be out of high school, but I'm very excited for the next step in my life.
Well, you still got another year before this whole thing comes to an end. But looking back at it from a year ago, at this time you were getting ready, showing out for the college coaches, getting offers, and you're still getting recruited despite being committed to UVA. What's different in the whole process for you? Is it kind of peaceful now, or is it still kind of hectic, even though you've made that commitment to UVA and you still continue to get recruited until you sign the dotted line with the Cavaliers?
It's been chill recently. Not too much has been going on in my recruitment or anything. It's just, it's been UVA and stuff like that. So nothing has changed, and I'm not sure if anything will change.
Now you become a recruiter, though, right? You're trying to get some teammates there.
Yes, of course. I'm also trying to recruit for University of Virginia, get some good guys from the area, and players out of state and things of that nature to come make Virginia great.
Sure. Well, what is, just for refresh people, remember we talked about it when you made the commitment. What was it about UVA? And certainly Tony Elliott's team tore it up this past year, got to the ACC championship game, top 25 ranking, and I know you want to be a part of them, continue to climb even higher, right?
Yes, sir. I want to be a part of that program. The program, they have been doing good. They have been going in the right direction, and I feel like Coach Tony Elliott is the right coach to lead UVA in the right direction, and he's been doing very well with that. I like how he's very family oriented. He loves his family. He loves his family and things of that nature. He puts the players like mental health and things like that first. He always wants to make sure we're good off the field before we are on the field.
Sure. I know you have some guys from Oscar Smith lineage that played at the University of Virginia, names that ring a bell to people out there. Andrew Brown made the National Football League. Tim Smith, who's now an assistant coach, college football, Norfolk State, set records here at Oscar Smith catching the ball. Perry Jones, of course, your pops played with some of these guys too. He's now coaching at William & Mary. What have they told you about the whole Oscar Smith to UVA lineage that you're going to continue?
They just tell me that they're very proud of me, that they love me, and they just giving me the words and encouragement that I need from father figures in my life that I don't have on a daily basis and things of that nature. So, they just been uplifting me, telling me that the program is good. It's a good culture, good area and things of that nature. So, they just filling my head up with good things.
I think your top 4 receivers from this past season, Lonnie, correct me if I'm wrong, have all graduated now with Travis Johnson at Michigan, Trey McGlown, Trayshawn Bradley, Quality Price. But now you go for some history to try to be, I think, the first Smith quarterback to go for a three-peat. There's been some great quarterbacks. You know about them. Sean Mitchell and Phillip Sims, J.J. Williamson, the list of QBs that have come before you. What would that mean to accomplish that and be the first to do that, which Smith has a rich history of QBs and record-setting passers?
It was already a blessing to go back-to-back. Well, it was a blessing to even get the first one. That was hard, and then it was even harder to go back-to-back, which made it like it was a blessing to go back-to-back, and it's going to be even bigger blessing to go three for four, leaving out my senior year.
Last two for you. How does your role change? Certainly leadership is always committed at the quarterback position at any school, especially Oscar Smith, which has all the attention on it. But now that you have new receivers you're breaking in, how does your role change in terms of, be it vocally or just in terms of the whole playbook and running the offense?
It's just making sure that all the guys that are rising up to the occasion now, making sure that they're right in the right line and assignment, making sure that they're doing the right things. The small details is what's gonna help us win the state championship at game 15.
Lastly, I know you're looking forward to having that taste again at JMU in the state championship come December, but I understand over to my right, to your left there, you got a new turf field being put in at Oscar Smith at Beard DeLong Easley Field for that first game against Gonzaga. How geeked up are you for that opportunity to have them come to your turf after what happened last year, losing to them?
I'm actually very excited. I think about that game almost every day too. I feel like that's going to be a game where we just got to showcase what we could showcase, being that we lost so much players. And I feel like we're going to come out here and we're going to do the right things and we're going to execute the game and we're going to come out with a dub.
That's LA3, Lonnie Andrews III of Oscar Smith, soon to be a Wahoo. Thanks so much. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
How polished is that young man, Lonnie Andrews III from Oscar Smith? One of the best that we've had a chance to talk to and cover here. It is 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. So you heard from him as well as Green Run defensive back Teron Whitehead. Both I've covered both those guys as dads when they played. Makes me feel old as dirt. Terrell, who's now the D coordinator at Green Run, All-American at Norfolk State, stint with the Jaguars in NFL, and of course Lonnie's pops, who passed away tragically, was a running back before their state championship, their first one in 2008. Under Coach Rich Morgan. He played with guys like Perry Jones and Tim Smith, who are now college coaches at William & Mary and Norfolk State, respectively. Again, making me feel old as dirt as Lonnie gets ready for his final chapter, as does Tehran, before both young men head off to the next level.
Yeah, listening to Lonnie there, I kept thinking, man, we just talked about him. If I'm not mistaken, his first game, his freshman year, we came on the air the next day, and you were saying they may have another hotshot quarterback, this youngster, Lonnie Andrew, freshman.
You remember when it was, by the way? It was. I think it was. Well, it might have been his first game, but it was that season. You're spot on. It was against Indian River. He threw that game-winning touchdown pass. You remember that?
That's it. Yeah, and now we're talking about
Travis Johnson.
Yeah, senior going into his last year.
And by the way, we talk about hotshot freshman quarterbacks. We've done it with Phillip Sims. We've done it with Sean Mitchell, Lonnie Andrews. Gonna let everybody know now, Oscar Smith, as I go to my packet here with all my information. College days that happened. Class of 2030. Remember the name Justice Culler. I think that's how you pronounce it. Culler. 6'1", 165. He's next up, and he can zip that thing. I've already watched him throw. He's going to be good. Going to be really good. So they've got the next guy in line when Lonnie's done. Now, one of our comments out there asked, will Oscar Smith's offensive line be as good or as better than last year? They lost a lot up front, Ed. They lost, I think it was 4 starters. And I think all 4 of those guys went to play college football in some fashion, shape, or form. I believe the only guy back in their 2027 senior class is Demetrius Gunter, who I'm looking at on my packet here. 3.4 GPA, so he gets done in the classroom. Well, that's some good OJ I know you got over there. Don't worry. I got my juice in a second, too. Oh, don't worry. I came prepared this morning. You're going to see it in a second, in a little bit. I got my juice. But, Edward, they have some holes to fill. They are Oscar Smith, and they tend to have depth, and they do tend to replenish pretty well. They don't rebuild, they reload. So I'm not too concerned on that front. I do want to get to the recruiting front because he is committed to UVA if I can, unless you have a comment on that before I do so.
No, that's okay. I mean, I'm glad that Lonnie stayed in state. UVA was a great pickup for them.
Yeah.
You know, he did make comment. You made a comment. Even though he's committed, teams are still trying to recruit him. You know, you'd like to think schools would say, okay, he's committed, let's back off. But then again, this time and day, until you sign, he's legal. I mean, people go after him. And in this era where it's the portal, they're not even worried about a high school kid, especially a quarterback. But then again, if you don't have a kid in that portal who you think can do it, and he is a high school kid, you're going to go after him because if you don't have a good quarterback, forget everything else.
Mm-hmm. And you got to keep your nose clean as a quarterback. Just ask Brendan Sorsby now of Texas Tech, which is another story for another time. But let's go back to the recruiting piece because Virginia, which made the ACC championship, Tony Elliott's got them on the rise. I think you would concur, Ed. Mm-hmm. You look at the recruiting rankings according to one service. You can go to any service you like, including ours at Rivals. I mentioned ours, but one of the services has, in terms of the recruiting rankings, team rankings, which I know means nothing to you right now, but Virginia Tech's got a top 15 class. Virginia's ranked 59th. And UVA's got 5 verbals. All their verbals in 2027 are Virginia kids, with Lonnie Andrews III, 2 other 757 guys from the Peninsula, and Derek Fisher, as we know, kin to Michael Vick, kin to Dwight Vick, who's been on the show with us before, the athlete from Bethel, who's going to be maybe one of the teams to beat in the Peninsula. Gene Jones Jr. from Hampton, lineman, who we interviewed before as well. And then 2 guys from Richmond, Landon Hicks and Camden Chalky of Manchester, receiver and defensive lineman. Virginia Tech's got 15 commits, 10 more commits. Only one of their 15 commits for James Franklin. This boggles my mind. Only one, Ed, is a Virginia in-state commit, and that's DeMarcus Brown from Roanoke, North Cross area, and he's a flip from UVA. So they've got nobody from the 757, 804, Nova, and just one of their 15 commits from in-state, and they have currently ranked by one service a top 15 class. So James Franklin has decided to go more national, not so much regional, for his recruiting base at Virginia Tech here for year number 1 at the helm, which is surprising. They're ranked that high, and they're having that much success. They've gone away from in-state in a sense, which you can do, but it's a little surprising.
Yeah, and it's funny because when he was at Penn State, they seem to be in the state more so than a lot of other. Now that he's in the state,
right,
he's going outside the state. Now
it's bizarre.
And I look at that maybe one of 2 reasons. You're not being successful trying to get the in-state kids; they just don't want to go to you, or you just said, you know what, we're going to go outside. I think we have a better chance to get these kids outside. Why waste our time on in-state? To which I would say, well, you're not wasting time. You better be involved with the best kids. You're Virginia Tech, you're Virginia. You better be involved with the best in-state kids in Virginia you can, because I do believe in the long run, you have to get the better in-state kids, because going outside, you're not getting, I don't think, the best of those other states. Mm-hmm. You're probably getting some really good kids, but you're not, I don't think you long-term you can build your program unless you're a national program. Virginia Tech's not a top 20 team right now, national. So James Franklin, don't upset your Virginia coaches and fans and whatever right off the bat. Get yourself involved. If you're involved and you're not getting them, that's a whole nother story. But if you're just elect to say, well, we're not going to waste our time with these Virginia kids, we can do better elsewhere. Well, you might be elsewhere soon enough.
Well, he's got a couple of players like we mentioned before, finalists. The list is, and I know down to one, but you can do it 2 weeks in a row, Ed. You hit it last week with Carter Jones. Big lineman from Rye Cove, Ethan Lawson's got a finalist, final 2, West Virginia, the Mountaineers, and the Hokies of Virginia Tech. Is Big Ethan going to pick Morgantown or Blacksburg for his destination? Go ahead. See if you can make it 2 for 2 here.
I should do better because I got a 50-50.
Yeah, you should do better. Last week you had 25% chance. You still got it right.
I'll probably get it wrong because I have a better chance. You know, based on what we just said with Virginia Tech, I would lean towards West Virginia.
Is that your pick? Is that your final answer?
Might make a bigger impact at West Virginia. I'm going West Virginia, the Mountaineers.
All right, we'll see. That'll make our pal Mark Fout a happy camper. Before we shift gears to the top 10 list for my baseball 757, I do want to flash this on the screen here. We'll do our picks too for the NBA while we have a chance here. Game 7. Players are 7-0 when playing on their birthday. Harrison Barnes turns 34 on the day of Game 7. Uh-oh. Does that mean the Spurs get the W tonight? Their history in Game 7s. There you have it on the screen. The last time they were in a Game 7, they lost to the Nuggets by 4. They lost to the Clippers by 2. They did beat the Mavs in 2014. But in a conference final, you got to go back to when they played the Washington Bullets in the Eastern Conference, Edward, 1979. They've done it in the NBA Finals, losing to the Heat, beating the Pistons, but in 05 and 13. But how about that? Wow. How about that?
Well, I hope history stays correct because I'm pulling for San Antonio.
You and Mike Hatfield.
I did pick OKC, so let's see what happens. I just have a slight feeling OKC wins this.
A slight feeling. Well, you and Aschburner were leaning in that direction. I'm actually going to go opposite. And by the way, this list is I don't want to say it's trash, but it's incorrect to an extent because that was Seattle Sonics. I don't count some of that. I go to 2011 when they were the Thunder. So they are technically 1-0, 2-0, 2-1, 2-2, 3-2, 4-2. They won 2 last year. So that this group has done it before. But I said to you start of the series, and I had Thunder in 6. I think they missed their chance in Game 6. They were close at halftime. Third quarter, they got blistered. And I said they needed a healthy J-Dub. And I think they're going to miss Jalen Williams tonight. And I think the Spurs, who have gotten off to good starts, they're plus 25 in the first quarter of this series. At plus 25. I think they've only lost 1 first quarter in the previous 6 games of the series. I got a funny feeling the Spurs eke it out close. And if it's a 10-plus point win, it's OKC at home. But I think if it's decided by a possession or 2, I think the Spurs execute a little bit better in those situations. And again, I know they got some guys dinged up too. Harper and Fox can earn it at 100%. But I just think without Jalen Williams, it's going to be harder for OKC to do this tonight. We shall see. All right, as we close out this episode of 757 Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV with the coach Ed Young, I am Matthew Hatfield. Ed, recently a player from the 757 announced his retirement from Major League Baseball. He is Cox High School's own UVA great Chris Taylor, who won a couple of World Series titles with the LA Dodgers. He had some memorable moments in the postseason for them. No, he wasn't Mookie Betts or Shohei Ohtani or Freddie Freeman. No, he didn't have the ballyhooed career with all these accolades and millions and millions and millions of dollars. He made himself a nice little living now, but he was really a key utility guy, came through in the clutch, be it offensively or defensively with the glove, and he should be praised for what he did on the diamond as one of those, almost what we say in basketball or football, role guys,
team guys find a way to win for us, guys.
Yeah, I agree. Chris Taylor is pretty much filled in where they needed him. It seemed like he always got a key hit when they needed it. No, he wasn't Hall of Famer or whatever, or perennial All-Star. But I think as a manager, he was the kind of guy that managers would say, and they thank God we got this Chris Taylor, because he bailed a lot of managers out of certain situations. He got injured, I guess, broke an arm or something, and said he was going to retire. Then he changed his mind, and then he changed it back again. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and retire. I kind of hoping maybe he let himself get healed. You know, he's already put in the time and effort. He was in the Angels organization, getting his batting eye back down there in the minors, and he didn't need the minor leagues. It's just getting his batting eye back. Then he got hurt, so now that he has said he has retired.
He had the walk-off against St. Louis, the 3 home runs in Game 5 of the 2021 NLCS against the Braves to avoid elimination. So, again, we mentioned it. He's had his amazing catch. You remember that when he was in the field. I think it was against Milwaukee. He's had some moments. And, of course, he's been with other teams too, Seattle, the Angels. But you're right. You mentioned the whole situation was going to go to the minor leagues, but then he's just said enough's enough. So, it got me to thinking about the 757 baseballers. And here we go with Matt Hatfield's top 10 list. I don't have graphics for all these, but I'm still going to do them for you here. My top 10 list of 757 baseballers. We're going to go from 10 to 1. Are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
All right, 10 to 1. And here we go for number 10 on the list of baseballers. We know who's probably number 1. We think we do. We're not 100% sure. But number 10 on my list, I'm going to go with the only pitcher on this list. I think it's mostly hitters. I'm going to go with Wayne Gomes. Wayne Gomes, you remember him? Phoebus High School, pitcher from Old Dominion. 30 wins, 284 strikeouts. He's underrated, undervalued in a lot of respects. I think he belongs on this list, so he's my number 10 guy. My number 9 guy on this list. Oh, the Upton brothers from Chesapeake. We think about them quite often. And their father, Manny Upton, longtime official. Let's go with BJ, 164 career homers. It's probably a little low for him on this list. He was so hyped. Remember Tampa Bay Devil Rays? Played with a couple different teams. BJ had a couple small indiscretions off the field, but BJ had a really nice career that he compiled and carved out for himself. He's number 9. The guy we just mentioned, I'm putting him at number 8, Chris Taylor, and you can put him higher if you like. I think Chris belongs here. I mentioned it. All-star, utility guy, really compiled some good numbers. I think he was resourceful, the leadoff home run in the World Series. Look, 21 homers in 2017 was his best year. He was co-MVP with Justin Turner in the NLCS. I'm going to put him at number 8. You okay with the list so far, or do you want to step in and say, we got to fix this?
I'm going to write everything down, and then at the end I'll say where the adjustments should be made.
Okay, that's fine. Number 7. From your old school at Nansman River, I'm going to go to a current guy who's active in the big leagues, and we're talking about none other than former Tampa Bay stud who helped them get to a World Series and used to hurt Ed's Bronx Bombers. Now with the Pittsburgh Pirates, a multi-time All-Star from Nansman River High School, Brandon Lau. He's checking in at number 7 on this list. Now, this is where Ed's going to start to fight me off here. 6 and 5. He's going to say, you got these guys wrong. I'm going to try to make a case for it. Here we go. Number 6, First Colonial's very own. Played with the Diamondbacks, also the Orioles and the Rockies. We're talking about none other than Mark Reynolds. Immense power. 298 home runs in his career. Yes, 298 home runs. Little spotty at third base, but a journeyman type of guy, veteran guy who was a fringe all-star guy. I think Lau will pass Reynolds on this list, but as we sit here on May 30th, getting ready to turn the calendar to June, he's just a spot ahead for right now. Where are we at now, Ed? 10, 9, 8, 7. So we're at number 5, right?
Number 5.
Right,
Number 5.
5 Alive, that used to be a drink, but instead I'm going to get a quick sip of something else.
Yes, sir. Toast it up, baby. Some OJ.
Some good OJ. It's not 5 Alive.
That's some good OJ. By the way, you have my money.
I don't.
Clean yourself up and you should get my money.
Number 5, Daniel Hudson. Oh, we have a second pitcher on this list, but he's not a starter. He's a reliever.
I was thinking of that when you first said Gomes. I was saying in my head. So apparently Daniel Hudson.
No, I forgot about the second pitcher. We had 2 pitchers.
This guy's a two-time World Series champ. 2019 with the Nationals, got the last out in that memorable World Series where every road team won with them in Houston. And they won Game 7 in Houston. 817 strikeouts, 43 saves, 3.74 ERA, 65-45, winning record as a reliever, which is hard to do sometimes, out of Princess Anne High in ODU. He was born technically in Lynchburg, but Huddy belongs on this list at number 5. And we'll fight it off later, I'm sure. Now here's the top 4, the Fab 4. Hard to dispute these guys. Number 4, and he's been on the show, and we'll probably have him on here pretty soon because they got the All-Star Classic coming up. We're talking about Michael Kadire. Michael Kadire, Minnesota Twins. We think about what he did on the diamond. Great Bridge High School, 1997, 9th overall pick, 2-time All-Star. So many good Twins teams managed by Ron Gardenhire, former Tide. And oh, by the way, what gets forgotten about with Kadire, whose son, by the way, is a stud for Great Bridge, is that Kadire won the batting title with the Rockies in 2013. So when you win the batting title, you're arguably as good a hitter as there is in your league. And his longevity and durability and consistency certainly warrant him a top 5 position on this list. Now we're into the big 3, the top 3. And at number 3 is the guy that was the face of the Washington Nationals, got himself a World Series title in 2019. He's been in the booth a little bit. All 16 years in D.C., the 2-time All-Star out of Kellum High School in Virginia Beach, 4th overall pick, the Z-Man, Ryan Zimmerman. He checks in at 3. And then your top 2, I think they're in a league of their own. At number 2, it pains me I don't put him number 1 because he played with my guys, but then he left my guys. Played the D-backs, and he played with the Braves and the Padres and the Tigers and the Angels and the Mariners. First overall pick in 2005 at a Great Bridge High, 4-time All-Star, slugged over 320 homers in his 16-year career, a quietly darn good career. Just short of Hall of Fame status to me, just like number 1 is on our list. But Justin Upton, BJ's brother out of Chesapeake, belongs at number 2. And at number 1, he's Captain America. He got put in the Mets Hall of Fame, the Shrine last year where there was tears galore. He got to a World Series but didn't win a ring. Injuries shortened what could have been a Hall of Fame career. Captain America, the 7-time All-Star out of Hickory High in Chesapeake, all-time leader in hits for the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and beat the Mets. David Wright. So there you go to recap it, 1 through 10. My top 10 baseballers from the 757. David Wright 1, Justin Upton 2, Ryan Zimmerman 3, Michael Kadire 4, Daniel Hudson 5, Mark Reynolds 6, Brandon Lau 7, he's active. Chris Taylor, who just retired, at number 8. Number 9, BJ Upton, and number 10, Wayne Gomes. You say, where's Justin Verlander? Where's this guy? Again, I took guys that played their high school ball in the 757. So, yes, you could put Justin Verlander there. Went to Goochland, played at Old Dominion. Yes, you can put some other guys there, but that was my criteria for this specific top 10 list. Your thoughts, Edward?
And I would agree that you have to play your high school ball in Virginia, graduated from a high school in Virginia. And all those guys have. So that's why I would keep Verlander off the list too, because he played his college ball, but he would not play. Looking at the list, hard for me to want to change it around. My first instinct when you said top 10, I knew automatically David Wright, number 1. That's who I had, and I figured you would have him too. I actually had Zimmerman 2, Jason Upton.
Justin Upton. Justin Upton.
I'm sorry, Justin Upton. Justin Upton 3rd.
Really? Well, by the way, here's the thing with Upton. I was going to think you might argue the other way, because Upton's 325 homers are tied for the most from someone born from Virginia, according to Baseball Reference. They have Willie Horton born in Virginia, but I don't think that's right. Wright hit a lot fewer home runs.
Born in Virginia.
Huh?
Willie
What's
Horton
that?
for Detroit Tigers was born in Virginia.
He was? Okay. You're right. He was born in Virginia. You're right, from the Tigers. But David Wright hit a lot fewer home runs than Justin. His home run total was 242. So Justin hit, we're talking, that's 83 more home runs than David. Now, the batting average was 296 to 291 for David. The season's 2 more for Justin than David. So David only had 23 more hits. So, you can almost make a case that way. But if you looked at home runs, Zimmerman's a little bit lower down the list. He's below Kadire and Lau. You know who else was born in Virginia, by the way, quietly? Not 757. It's Cal Raleigh. you know that? I didn't know that.
Oh, he's a Virginia kid? Oh, okay.
Born in Virginia. Brandon Inge was too. But so you would flip those guys. Okay. You just think Zimmerman's longevity.
Reluctantly, I would flip them. That's fair. Because, Justin had a really good career. Wright, of course, we all know the situation with Wright, injuries. He could have went further, but the injuries curtailed his potential. People thought potentially could be a Hall of Famer, but the injuries held him back. When you look at the rest of the
Wright had more stolen bases than Justin, too, by the way. I would have thought it'd been Justin. 196
I would have thought Justin. You're right in terms of overall, when they came out of high school and all that, I think BJ was looked upon to be a perennial all-star in the major leagues. He had a good career, not a great career, but and of course we say Chris Taylor, we said, he just seemed to fill in perfectly, the ultimate utility guy where he was needed, had key hits. Gomes gets kind of being probably one of the older guys on the list, gets forgotten of.
Yeah, that might be the guy people will fight me off on. But it's amazing. We don't have a lot of pitchers that are candidates. Some of the better pitchers from Virginia are outside the 7.57s. The Bobby Witts, take Brian Anderson, for example, by the way. He was born in Portsmouth, didn't play his high school ball here, so that's why he wasn't a candidate. Does TV for the Tampa Bay Rays and pitched for my D-backs, by the way, in the World Series in 2001, the best fall classic ever when they beat the Bronx Bombers. But there's not a lot of pitchers from the 7.57, more hitters. Wonder why that is.
I don't know. I'd see maybe the area has developed the hitters better than the pitchers, more so than, when you look at it. To me, I would have to think that that's kind of what it is. The hitting schools here, of course, we put a lot of homage into one of our great friends from the past, Tony Townsend, in developing a lot of these players too. Norby Wilson had his hand in developing a lot of these players, former great First Colonial baseball coach. And I just think they're more known for developing hitters. So it was like the pitchers would have to go elsewhere or whatever. But and these guys are top-notch guys. And you always wonder, well, when they were in high school, they probably were pitchers too because they were the best athlete. But I don't remember any of these guys pitching in high school. They were just, position players and hitters. Yeah. And it leads me to think, well, who were some of the great high school pitchers we had and what was their career? Of course, now pitching's a little bit maybe tougher to garner a major league career out of.
It is.
Arm injuries, whatever happens, guys fizzle out, whatever, than it is a hitter. Not that hitting's easy. But, and
I'm Cotton, by the way, from Menchville High School is one that comes to mind, but he didn't have the longevity, as a baseball pitcher.
Well, there was a kid for the Cubs, Ramirez.
Neil Ramirez. We had him on from Kempsville, yeah.
Neil Ramirez was not bad.
From our guy, Paul Shouse over there, yeah.
Yeah. Ramirez, I can remember he wasn't too bad on there either.
We've had a few of them on.
I think Brandon Lowe will move up in your list. I think he can go up as high as number 5. He's having a good career. He's a very important Pirate. He's become like the leader of the Pirates automatically in his first year. On leading a young team, it's funny. He's an oldster.
Yeah.
On a young team,
So you don't have a problem with him being below Reynolds and Hudson right now.
Now, no. Okay. But I think when it's all said, I think Brandon's probably got 4 or 5 more years.
I agree. I think he'll crack and he'll have a chance to move into the top 5. I agree.
The other thing with Reynolds, man, and I said this when he was done playing, wish he could have hung around and got 2 more home runs. For some crazy reason, 300 home runs. You catch everybody's attention, 300 or more.
It's like the movie Bernie Mac, Mr. 3000, which is one of the great movies.
Yeah.
With your girl Monet in there. But, yeah.
If he could have come back and if he would have stayed on and got 2 more home runs.
Yeah, he could have come back and done it. But we'll see how this list moves in the years to come. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of 757 Sports Talk. We thank all of our tweeters, commenters, voters, interactors, and fans and listeners and viewers. And, of course, Steve Aschburner from NBA.com, Long Interest in Third from Oscar Smith here on Whitehead of Green Run. For the Coach Ed Young, I'm Matthew Hatfield. As always, make sure you hit that like button, the share button, and subscribe button on Cova Sports TV to get notified whenever we go live with anything here on Cova Sports TV. Have yourself some good OJ and a great sports weekend, and we'll talk to you next time.
Does the body good?
Control the body, not the body control the mind. We'll talk to you next time right here on Cova Sports TV. See you later.